Hello, folks. This is the Extra Mile for today, August 5th, 2021. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward are with me, and the music is not bringing us in. We are coming in cold because I have a public service announcement that I need to make before we get this show started. Since March of 2020, we have been in the grips of the COVID-19 pandemic. And when we got to June this year, it looked like we were in the clear. Positivity rates, case rates, all those metrics were below the lowest points since we had ever seen them since the pandemic started. Vaccination rates, while slowing, were pretty consistent to where we would maybe reach herd immunity or at least get enough people to where things wouldn't be a problem going forward. Going through July and now on August 5th, things have taken a turn for the worse. The Delta variant has brought cases surging back, mainly among the unvaccinated. Just today in Maryland, we had plus 729 new cases for the day. That is from the coronavirus.maryland.gov website. To take you back, we were below 100 cases back in June when mask mandates ended. And the 7-day positivity rate has fared no better in this state, ballooning from 0.5% on June 30th all the way to the current number, 7-day average, of 3.64% and a daily positivity rate of 3.74. And for those of us that remember the percent change formula, that is many thousands percent change from June until now. Folks, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to be nice. You only got three choices at this point. Put the mask on, get vaccinated, or get fitted for the intubation tube. We have come too far to go backwards like this. And at this point, if you're vaccine hostile, you need to stop watching certain news stations because everywhere else where they're taking an actual reality-based approach, I'm not even going to call it science-based approach to this point, a reality-based approach to things, the problem is as bad as it actually looks like. Nobody is trying to track you. You're not that important. And they wouldn't have to put a microchip in you to track you because we all have a cell phone. I'm over it. My sympathy well has run dry. My pleading well has also run dry. I have been vaccinated since April. I don't know Michael or Christopher's status. If they want to share, they can. If not, they don't really need to because that's not the point. The point is, hold on, I gotta.
For me.
Michael, you were muted, so go ahead and say that again. Actually, both of you guys can say it again.
Sorry, vaccinated since May.
It was April or May for me. I don't remember. Late April, I think.
We were around. Yeah. There's only three choices here, people. The masks are coming back. The last time we saw a surge like this, we ended up sitting at home. So you can get vaccinated, as our governor said, get the dang vaccine. Much like he said, wear the dang mask. Put the mask on until we get this Delta variant back under control, or get ready to be sitting at home again. Because hard heads are going to make some real soft bottoms when it comes to this pandemic and a lot of other things. And with that, welcome to the program. We're going to turn from there and get into a calamitous Hungarian Grand Prix, where we said on this station the last thing we wanted to see was Mercedes and Red Bull touching each other. Fellas, what happened lap number 1 of the Hungarian Grand Prix?
It was a big disappointment to everybody. I don't think that there's a person who felt that was a good first corner, and we can thank the bowling ball Bottas, as I'm now going to refer to him as. Yeah, he missed his break point completely, and Daryl, the one thing we all agreed could not happen happened lap one. A Mercedes car took out both Red Bulls, and it after 2 weeks ago, man, it's hard to look at it like a coincidence. And I'm not saying Bottas did it on purpose, but what the HE double hockey sticks, Daryl? What is going on?
I'll be honest, I don't think Bottas is good enough to do that intentionally. I don't get it. It's the one thing we knew couldn't happen. And lap one, turn one, Bottas just yeets poor Lando Norris into both Perez and Verstappen. Both of them are, well, Perez ends up going out of the race. Verstappen, we'll talk about in a minute.
Might as well have been.
Yeah, and we're going to get to his damage in a moment. But Michael,
did you?
Didn't. Oh, go ahead.
Did you hear the comments that I think Horner said to Verstappen during the race? He goes, "How does it feel to have as much downforce as a Haas car?"
He did not say that.
He said that. He said, "How does it feel?" or something. Horner said something on the radio about having as much downforce as a Haas car.
Oh, Horner, you need to chill.
You guys saw the car too. He had no downforce on half the car.
Yeah, half the barge boards were ripped off that car.
Which, for those of you who don't know, means that car did not want to steer.
No, there's a collection of, I'll call, planes on either sides of these cars that helps in turning. They've modeled actually this damage in F1 2021. If you lose those, it's not a fun time trying to turn the car. And the fact that Verstappen even got points out of this race was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it definitely shows his skill. Very skilled race car driver there to manage to get points at all that. The thing about it is he was actually mad he only got 1 point, but, considering what happened, I think that's an amazing result.
Well, he ended up getting 2 points, but we will get to that in a moment. Someone's phone is ringing.
You don't hear it? It's Super Max.
No, we heard. There we go. Oh, that was Max. Okay.
Yeah, Super Max.
Ah.
Yeah, I used to be like the Max Verstappen hater in this team, but every now and again he just shows me like, nah, you're actually a pretty damn good driver.
I mean, he wouldn't be there if he wasn't.
I don't hate Max. It's just the ancillary stuff around Red Bull, which I'll get to in a bit.
To be honest with you, if he wasn't in Red Bull, I would like him a lot more, but it's Red Bull.
I think it fits. I think they fit well together because Red Bull wants those people that are kind of, like kind of loud and kind of showboaty, and I think that fits really well with Max's personality.
In my opinion, they just want another Sebastian Vettel, but that's up for debate.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Why wouldn't you want another Sebastian Vettel?
Another 3-time world champion.
4-time?
Yeah, 4-time. Sorry, another 4-time world champion. I wouldn't want that, says no one ever.
Yeah,
but that race, and I want to go quickly because I just want to get into all the calamity that happened in this race. So we get there. Lance Stroll then comes bowling in like the Kool-Aid man after the end of that wreck, getting into a couple other cars. I don't actually remember. Didn't he take out one of the Alfa Romeos, I think?
He took out another McLaren that took out... No, he took out a Ferrari that took out... that hit Daniel Ricciardo. And I think that was it. and then later on you got Mazepin taking himself out.
No, did you guys see the video on that?
I have not seen a single second of what happened to Mazepin.
It was somebody, I can't remember who, but somebody got released out of their pit, and it wasn't actually
Giovinazzi.
Oh, yeah, now I remember. Yeah, it was the Giovinazzi.
He got released and went right into him. So it actually wasn't somebody's fault, but might as well be. He would have done it
for
anyway.
The first time. Well, there ended up being an unsafe release penalty there, but for once, it wasn't Mazepin's fault. And why all those cars were in pit lane? Because on the restart, everybody decided to come to change on slicks. Except for one car. That was Lewis Hamilton. And one of the strangest restarts I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, people much older than us were saying that it was the strangest restart that they've ever seen too. So it's definitely a very unique situation, but I'll let you.
You know that picture of Lewis Hamilton sitting at the dinner table alone?
I've seen that picture, yeah.
Same energy. Same energy.
And if you haven't seen it, they're about to restart the race. Everyone else comes in for dry tires. Hamilton does not. He's the only one on the line when they turn the lights on to start the race. I've never seen that before in my life. Well, actually, I've seen it before, but it was the 05 U.S. Grand Prix, and that was a completely different decision. I've never seen all the cars coming to change tires, and one dude's just sitting out there like, nope, I'm good. He was not good. Hamilton ended up going all the way back to last because of it. And that put up front a battle between Alpine and Aston Martin for the win of the race between Ocon and Vettel for the majority of the event, and they were doing it on pace because Hamilton and Mercedes screwed up the pit strategy, and two of the Red Bulls were damaged and in one case destroyed. This was a wild race, and Esteban Ocon ends up getting the victory, but you've got to give the MVP to Fernando Alonso, who finished fourth, because he held Lewis Hamilton off for 10 laps, and if Alonso doesn't do that, Hamilton wins this race, by the way. And God only knows what we're talking about with the championship at that point. But Fernando Alonso playing the ultimate team gunner, or tail gunner, saves the win for Alpine. I think that was my favorite part of the race, honestly.
Yeah, did you catch the interview after the race with Alonso?
I did not.
So he said that his motivation was for Ocon, but also to hold up Lewis. He said for Max. He goes, I was doing.
Chris, you blinked in and out there. You're blinking in and out there, but it sounds like he said to do that for Max, which is
Can you hear me now?
Interesting. Yeah, now we got you.
So Alonso said I was holding him off for Max, and then he goes, I tried as hard as I could.
Yeah,
interesting.
Definitely one of the best Fernando Alonso performances out of his career, and. Watching this race really makes me think, how good an F1 season would be if all of these factory teams weren't in it.
If we didn't have the factory teams, it'd be one heck of a race between about 12 cars. I don't know what the engines would be, but it would be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot closer than it is. Hopefully in 2022, as we were watching the race, I was thinking hopefully in 2022, it'll be this way where some of the privateer teams and some of the other manufacturer teams, depending on what you want to consider Aston Martin, to be honest, they don't build their own engines, to where they're all competitive, to where it doesn't take 3/4 of the front runners getting demolished in the run up front. And maybe we could see a situation where it's Alpine versus Aston Martin more often up front, for example, or maybe even an AlphaTauri, or even, Lord willing, Alfa Romeo being up there.
Yeah, I definitely think these cost captions need to be put on this car, because a lot of these teams can't really make a faster car because, making a fast car costs money. So, if the price of building a new car was reduced, that means they can put more into the car. So, hopefully in 2022, we can have much more closer racing, because people are able to spend more on the car that they couldn't before.
Well,
hey, I just got driver of the day.
Oh, go ahead. Nice. Christopher's playing F1 2021.
That's my first one.
Nice. I think that's why also, Michael, they went and made the cars simpler, because if you look at the photo, they don't have a lot of the extraneous aerodynamic aids for the F1 2022 car compared to what the 2021 car looks like. Like, the barge boards are completely gone on the car. They've eliminated those, and it just looks simpler, a lot less aerodynamic nonsense on it. So we may see that more impactful racing that we're trying to see next year. We hope. It'll be interesting once the teams get onto it and start doing their own little changes to it. And actually, as I'm looking at it, they've massively simplified the barge board, but the wheel thing with the LEDs is still kind of weird.
But, not only that, but, once people see that, building a good F1 car, not only costs less, that'll invite more people wanting to join and more teams for the grid.
We hope. I would like to see it get like what the World Endurance Championship and IMSA are going to look like in 2023, because I don't know if you guys saw that announcement, but Lamborghini planning a Le Mans Daytona hypercar program in IMSA and WEC for 2023. So that's about 7 or 8 manufacturers now
and the crazy
for that category.
And the crazy thing about it was Lamborghini was talking about joining F1 if the cost cap came down, but the WEC kind of beat them to the punch.
Yep. And hey, maybe with the cost cap, they might still be able to make a F1 program. We'll see in a couple of years, probably, depending on how things go. But this was a really fun Hungarian Grand Prix. We had rain come in, and then all of the calamity that ensued. And of course, we ended up with the disqualification because Sebastian Vettel didn't have enough fuel for the sample that they have to take at the end of the season, or at the end of the race.
That is the first time I have ever, and I do mean ever, saw that as a penalty.
It happened to Hamilton in 2012 in a qualifying session. Yeah. They didn't have enough fuel in it.
I think the bigger thing is Aston Martin saying, no, by all of our calculations, there's 1.44 liters of fuel in there. Mm-hmm. I think that's the bigger thing. And I saw today that they did formally put in for their appeal. So they're confident.
Yeah, they are. They really think they're going to win this appeal, which I'd be fine with.
And also, let's be honest, everybody was running out of fuel at the end of that race.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you saw Esteban Ocon, although he didn't run out of fuel, he was so excited to win his first career F1 race.
He missed the pit.
He missed pit road completely and had to run back. He was so happy.
Wait, I'm supposed to. Oh. because a lot of those teams aren't used to, being up there.
No,
So,
they're not.
so when stuff like that is kind of sad, but also wholesome when you realize it.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how many times Lewis Hamilton starts a race with the assumption of, oh yeah, I'm probably gonna get a podium or higher. So
Probably a lot of these races. And to be honest, even Lewis Hamilton was happy for Ocon, who's, had some tumultuous years in Formula One, end up out of the sport for a little bit, now back and got to win for Alpine, the first win for the Alpine make, hopefully the first of many, as that Alpine has shown to be pretty sporty, probably not sporty enough to race with the top guys, at least for the rest of this season, unless something happens to them, but they're still good.
Over the couple of years when it comes to Renault Alpine, it's just like they have times where they could compete with those guys. It's just they don't have enough oomph in the manufacturing department to get that extra performance. That kind of ties into the performance aspect of it, because Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull with Honda, they got the full brunt of their manufacturers to supply them with. Renault. Renault's a lot smaller than those three, so it's a lot harder for them to get those resources. So with this, the costs being put down, I would like to see Alpine be able to fight, especially like how they used to be able to fight.
Yep. Well, hopefully everything that they're setting up will bring more, cost containment and make this, F1 more equal, because that's what we want. And of course, we want more on-track action, because Hungary's not the best for passing, and then you get into how aerodynamically dependent these cars are. It's just so rough.
They call it Monaco without the barriers.
And that's basically what it is. And it doesn't help, because once these cars get behind a second, they push so much they can't, follow to try and make passes. So it's frustrating, and hopefully that changes.
And in that case, you just kind of power by everyone.
Yep. Unless it's Fernando Alonso, of course.
Well, Fernando Alonso is kind of an S-tier driver, even though F1 has him a 82 rated driver.
Some of those were definitely off, those ratings. But Formula One now goes off onto its summer break. Everyone will get a chance to take a break from the long global season, rest and relax, and get ready for the second half, which begins in Spa.
Hold on. It's time for silly season, Daryl.
Yep. And now we're going to get to find out who may be going where next season, and whether or not George Russell signed this Mercedes contract or not.
I think that's the main thing people are going to be watching over the summer break, because I don't really think anyone else has any plans. Maybe Alfa Romeo gets rid of Giovinazzi or something like that, or something crazy happens. But it's silly season. Anything can happen. Contracts are being passed around. But I think the George Russell deal is definitely what the media is going to be focusing on.
I think anybody but George Russell getting that second Mercedes seat is going to be a travesty, including putting Bottas back in there for another year.
I heard that Toto Wolff is not going to put Bottas in Williams, so I don't know. Maybe Williams, maybe Bottas, gets the boot, decides to call it quits in F1 entirely, because, this is the thing about this sport, is that drivers do come and go, and they have to leave at sometimes the best times because I remember Esteban Ocon, he got a few podiums at the season, but had to leave the sport because, well, he didn't really have anywhere else to go. And Lance Stroll's father, Lawrence Stroll, bought Force India, so there was nothing he could do.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of that season, he got like 2 podiums. So even when you're good, you can still get shuffled out of F1.
Yep. And we've just seen some bad runs for him. I mean, at this point, I don't know who's worse, Bottas or the United States men's 4x100 relay team, which I don't know if you guys have watched the Olympics, but I don't know if you saw that travesty, but I'm going to go on a mini rant here. There's no reason an event we have dominated the Olympics that we have suddenly fallen off so badly. We can't even get out the semis and no one's been fired. Like, what are we doing out there?
I bet every time I see that clip, I'm just like, yeah, I don't live in this country.
Yeah, I've run track. I ran the 4x100 relay before. So, like, I've done that before. I think we put on a better handoff of a baton than that, but I'm digressing. You know, we do talk about a lot of racing here, and we might talk about that on the other side, maybe. But just to say, it's time to give Russell the shot. I think you know what Bottas can do in that seat, which is not a lot. And we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah.
I would like to see Russell and Hamilton. Yep.
Maybe Russell ends up in Red Bull.
Oh, that would be... Yeah, but for who?
Perez.
You can't kick Perez out of that seat.
Yes, he can.
I sent. Horner said that if Mercedes makes the mistake of not putting Russell in that seat, he's calling Russell.
I think that'd be so disrespectful to Checo, because Checo has run that car incredibly well this season.
He brought the stability that they needed to it for sure.
Yeah, like, he is the stability that has brought them to fighting for this championship, and that'd be such a middle finger.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. But I mean, you also kind of, I mean, he's not old. I mean, he's only probably 32, maybe 33, something like that.
Yeah.
But
it could happen, but I would hate to see him go back to like a midfield team. He's been trying to prove himself for so many years now.
Perez is my age. He's 31.
So I overshot it a little bit, but
we were actually born within a week of each other.
Really?
That's weird. Yeah, he's January 26th. I'm January 18th. That's weird. We're 10 days. No, we're 8 days apart. That's weird.
But
anyways,
did you
sudden realization.
The Joseph Newgarden Dale Jr. download episode?
I have not yet. No.
He went to school. I forget with who, but they were in the same class together. Like I think he raced Indy. I can't remember who it was though. But yeah, they were actually in classes together, like in middle school, with another IndyCar driver, I think. I'm gonna look it up now. I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll probably come back to that after the break. But one more point I'm going to get to before we take that break. Please, please, please do not let a Mercedes touch a Red Bull at Spa.
Oh, man. Can you imagine the riot? Oh, my God.
Horner might shoot somebody.
If that happens, though, like if a Mercedes takes out a Red Bull, that's when you do have to say like, okay, something is going on deeper here. Like
yeah, at that point, it's okay. Something's up here.
3 in a row is inexcusable. 2 may be coincidence, but 3 is something major has to happen.
Yeah, well, the second one was weather related because Bottas forgot how to stop.
Yeah.
So you can kind of excuse that one, but Spa, it can't happen.
That's Verstappen's like second home race before his actual home race.
Yeah. If it happens there, they're going to need the German military and the British military to get Hamilton and Mercedes out of there.
Yeah. For context, guys, Verstappen is half Belgian. So they consider Verstappen, Belgian in Spa. And
it's his second home track.
Yeah, so his father, however, said, he's Dutch. So, yeah.
Well, whichever they want to claim. But hey, folks, before we go to break here, something you might want to claim out there, and that's semi-pro sports. And we want to thank Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team for sponsoring this show. And folks, we've seen some of the greatest professional and semi-professional athletes go at it at the Olympics for international glory, and a lot of those folks got their start or got their second chance in semi-pro leagues just like this. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players chances since 2017, and hey, whether you're in Southern California or anywhere else in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance, and you may find that second chance on the gridiron, the basketball court, or wherever you play that you've been looking for as an athlete. Follow them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, at Southern California _Warriors, and Facebook at Southern California Warriors. We'll be right back. When we do, IndyCar and NASCAR are back. We'll get you set for the second half of their seasons. We'll be right back here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with lists of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the college, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
And we are back here in the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. And before we get into NASCAR and IndyCar, I do want to get into our what's become a semi-annual segment here with F1 2021 coming out, and that is how everyone's career is doing in the game. Christopher, Michael, how are you guys doing? And we'll get to mine because I've had a couple of a rough patch here the last week.
I'll go first, Michael. So my team is SpaceX Honda because you cannot use Honda in your name. So we are the SpaceX Honda team. We currently have 3 podiums, 2 of which are the highest podium, and completely lucky and terrible blocks thrown early in the race to keep people away from me. I'm like 5th in the championship points right now, and as a constructor, I think we are 3rd, and that is all on my back, which those numbers don't make sense. So maybe it's the other way around. Maybe I'm 5th and maybe I'm 3rd and constructor we're 5th. I don't know, but we're doing all right. I'm at Japan right now. I'm sliding all over the place, but I've really figured out this aero package, or the aero changes, so I can actually get these cars sliding around and keep it, on track, which is something that took a lot of practice to do, but I'm finally there. What about you, Michael?
So you guys know I play this game very religiously, and I'm on my 2nd season. I've joined Ferrari. Season started off kind of bad because the first race I had a slight mechanical failure, so I went from 2nd to 9th in the span of a couple laps. But other than that, I've managed to upgrade the Ferrari to oblivion. We've just overtaken Mercedes. I've won 5 races in a row, and we're running away from this championship. Hamilton, Verstappen, they've had a lot of bad luck. Some DNF, some crazy crashes on Hamilton's behalf has left me with a 127 points gap back to Verstappen in 7th, and not in 7th,
Nice.
2nd. So it's looking good, although in Spa, the Mercedes seems a lot faster than our car. So my plan is just to honestly just take the hit, finish 2nd, and hopefully we can get him back in Monza. I would love to win at Monza with a Ferrari, but we got to take our victories where we can. I just want to win the championship.
Well, I'm glad you guys have been having fun because my last couple of races have not been fun. After we got off the show last week, I decided to try and race the British Grand Prix. Unfortunately, I went into the options button, and the thing is in the settings, there's a way where you can hit, and I'm using the Logitech PlayStation 4 wheel on my computer. I think it's like the G29 or G920, one of those. The thing about it is you can hit triangle and it switches through the different driving modes. Well, I accidentally turned it onto casual, and the first thing I noticed was something was wrong is that I tried to, hit the gears or hold the clutch to get ready to start, and I didn't need to hold the clutch, and the car automatically shifted into first. And basically in the casual mode in F1 2021, all you have to do is hit the throttle, and the car basically follows the driving line itself. Well, when you're trying to drive your lines and the game's trying to follow the optimal line, it basically rips the wheel out of your hand. So I tried to turn that off. Here's the problem. It can't be turned off when you've already started the session. And I was already in the screen to where I couldn't back out, turn it off, and then go back in. So I basically had to DNF my third straight race because I couldn't use the driving mode that I had accidentally turned on. So I'm going to Spa, just hoping to finish at this point.
Yeah, people are complaining about that once you start something, you can't change the settings again.
Yeah.
When you start practice, you can't change the length of qualifying or the race again.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are complaining about that.
And I don't think you can tweak the difficulty either.
No, you
once
can't.
You start. Because there are some tracks where I know Monaco, I'll turn down the difficulty a little bit because I know that that's such a tough track and I almost need a handicap. But after Monaco, I forget where we went, but I didn't need it, but I accidentally left it on, so I smoked the field. I ended up not saving. I left because I was just so much better, and I didn't think that was believable for my team being new this year, a new started team. So I ended up I backed out of the race in it once I realized that I had 8 seconds on Hamilton. But yeah, it's just frustrating. Then you have to go all the way back.
Yeah.
If you ask me, the AI is hardest at Great Britain. I don't know why, but they just gain so much time on you in certain areas of the track. It's ridiculous.
There's a couple of tracks where the AI
are just really
stronger
strong.
than you have noticed.
Yeah.
I'm now
that is
Tony
where
Hawk.
Nice. So that is where our F1 2021 careers are going, and it's good that we now have some actual real racing back because IndyCar and NASCAR are back this weekend. IndyCar is actually going to Nashville for the Music City Grand Prix. First time for the IndyCar at the Nashville Street Circuit. Guys, I'm excited to see this race, especially that new layout where they're actually going over the bridge there in Nashville. It's going to be a lot of fun to see this race. Of course, it's also a street race, but IndyCar has had some success with those. We've seen that St. Petersburg has now become a regional staple on the schedule. What do you guys think about this race, which will be on just after the IndyCar race, or NASCAR race, wraps up on NBCSN? What's your excitement level for this new race?
I was going to say, you want to go first?
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, it's going to be exciting. Anytime you go somewhere new, it's always, there's a lot of hype built up around it. And Nashville as a whole this year, they're just, race fans there are probably very happy that they have, events going on this summer. And the fans in the stands, it's just good for Nashville, and I'm excited to see it personally. I know you guys are too, but
yep, the teams are actually out in Nashville right now having some fun, getting out there and entertaining the crowd. They had a pit stop challenge there downtown earlier today, and also Ed Carpenter Racing, looking at Twitter, they had a little ping pong tournament. Not sure where this photo was taken, but it looks like there's a little bar down there, and they're playing a little bit of ping pong or table tennis, depending on what you want to call it.
Yeah, anything and that type of stuff, making it fun. I mean, that's what it's all about obviously it's about results, but yeah, having fun when you're going somewhere new and stuff, it makes it good for everybody. Um it does a really good job of building hype. That's what I was looking for.
And I think it does a great job of ingratiating the fan base with the sport, just to see the drivers out there. So,
yeah.
To know it's exciting to actually get them out there in front of in front of the audience, and that'll help them, as I said, become a part of that community, a lot like what they've done in St. Petersburg, where that's basically the traditional start of the season at this point. But coming into the race this weekend, Alex Palou leads the championship with 384 points. Pato O'Ward is second, 345. And Scott Dixon, the prohibitive favorite going into the season, is third on 328 points. Scott has not had a strong summer as we've usually seen him have in his career. As we're getting down to it, it's gone from this championship Scott's to lose to he's in a little bit of trouble. Do we think Dixon can still end this season with a championship win?
You want to take this one, Michael?
No, you can go ahead.
Well, I guess as far as open wheel cars, it's looking like some early championships aren't as concrete as they thought they were. I think is a good way of putting it. We got two interesting battles going on for championships.
I think it's going to be interesting how that wraps up. As we've seen in IndyCar this season, there's a gigantic youth movement that is going on, and the kids have been coming out swinging for this championship. You've got two of the young guns up there trying to lay claim onto IndyCar's future, and then you've got the veteran, some people who think is the greatest of all time when it comes to IndyCar, and Scott Dixon, trying to get that 7th championship, which reminds me of Jimmy Johnson in a way, trying to get that 7th title. Now, the youth movement in NASCAR kind of didn't take off till a couple more years. Well, the second youth movement didn't take off until a couple more years, or third, depending on what you want to call when Jeff Gordon came in. But it's got some parallels there to where we've got a changing of the guard going on in IndyCar, and that's going to continue right down to the wire. And I think it's setting up for a great championship battle on the streets of Long Beach. But that's not the only series that is back. NASCAR is also back. We're all excited. We head to Watkins Glen International and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, Michigan International Speedway, and we end the regular season at Daytona before starting the playoffs at Darlington 1 week later. The Glen in Indianapolis, a lot of people thinking maybe auto wins for Chase Elliott, but we still have a chance to get some wild winners, especially when it comes to Daytona. The intensity about to pick up. We're getting to the playoffs. Fellas, I think we're about to have a lot of fun these next 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. These next for a few weeks, you're gonna see some desperate driving.
And not only for the guys trying to get into the playoffs, Chris, but we're still deep into this season. We're getting deeper into this season. Kevin Harvick has not won, hasn't looked good, to be honest. And Denny Hamlin still have not won this season. They could risk going into the playoffs with only their stage win bonus points. As we've seen in the last few years, if you don't have a significant bonus point tally for playoff points, you're probably going to be in trouble once you get deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, those points definitely mean something. Once you get to probably the round of 8, is I think where you're really needing that bonus. The round of 16, that kind of, I don't want to say sorts itself out, but I don't think anyone's really expecting like McDowell to make it through to the round of 12. I'm sure there are people that are hopeful, but if we're just talking realistically, I don't see that happening. And as much as I like Christopher Bell, I'm not sure that I see him moving on. But yeah, like you were saying, all those points that you accrue throughout the season that are playoff points, they matter, especially the deeper you go. And someone like Denny Hamlin not having very many of those is going to come back and bite him, I feel. And it's going to do it when it's least convenient for him. He might get a win or maybe he'll get a win or two in the playoffs, but I don't think he's got enough to carry him on to the round of 4. Well, the championship 4 anyway.
I'm just surprised he hasn't won at all.
I think we all are at this point.
I'm wondering if he's a little I was going to say disappointed, but I did not mean to. I almost wonder if he's a little distracted. I mean, he's a professional. But being a team owner, and I just wonder if he's almost distracted a little bit. When you're in a car, anybody that drives knows all you have time to do in a car is sit there and think. And now that he's a business owner of a team, I'm wondering if he is, to a degree, almost distracted a little bit when he's driving.
I wouldn't imagine so. I think racing drivers are just told not to leave their issues and stuff at the office, and just go there and drive. So I'm not sure if that could be the case, but it would be interesting if that was what really was going on with Hamlin. Is that he essentially is starting to get a little stressed out, but I just can't see, someone as disciplined as him, having that happen to him.
Yep. Well, we'll have a chance to see if we want to ride with Hamlin this week. So it's time to get into Nearest the Win. Haven't had 2 series on here in a little bit, but now we get to decide who we think's going to win this weekend. Got NASCAR at the Glen and IndyCar at the Music City this weekend.
Before we get into it, Daryl, we did not talk about some silly season news that happened in NASCAR this week.
Right. Before we go, because we're running out of time very quickly, Ross Chastain going to be in the second Trackhouse seat for 2022. So we got the 99 and the 1, and Ty Norris gets the last laugh in the DEI situation.
Did you guys see what Justin Marks said about Ross Chastain? They asked him what he brought to the table for sponsorship, and he said, "Not a penny, and I wouldn't have it any other way."
Yeah, I saw that. Justin was really happy that he's not bringing any money in, and it helps. And
I was going to say, for the people listening, the reason being is he likes the idea of someone not being able to. He likes the idea that the car isn't purchased, that you're getting it purely on merit.
And that's the best part, because they've got the sponsorship to where they don't have to rely on what we like to call pay drivers anymore.
Yep, definitely.
Yep. So now we get to go ahead and pick who we think is going to win this week. Watkins Glen for NASCAR, Music City for IndyCar, and I will go first this time. I think Alex Palou is going to take the win in the Music City. And I'm actually going to... I need to desperately get points, and you can't go wrong with Chase Elliott at a road course, so I'm going to take Chase Elliott. Who do you guys have?
You going to go, Michael?
It's IndyCar and NASCAR, right?
Yes.
For Indy, I'm gonna go with VK.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm going with VK. I just like VK. NASCAR. It's a road course. I'm gonna go with Denny Hamlin.
Fair. So I'm going to go. Daryl, I was going to go with your exact lineup too, but that wouldn't really be very competitive of me, was it? So I'm going to go Chase Elliott, and here's my reasoning: is the last 2 times Chase Elliott has won at Watkins Glen, I have been out of town in the Adirondacks for both of them, and guess where I'm going this weekend?
The Adirondacks.
Yep. So I have a good feeling, and anyone who wants to put Chase Elliott, it's a good weekend because history's on your side. And then for IndyCar, I was going to go Palou, but I will go. Do I want to go Dixon? Yeah. You know what? I'll go Scott Dixon.
Well, folks, if you want to get your picks in for nearest the win, I would say that, if you want to get your picks in for nearest the win, make sure that you tweet out nearest the win with your picks for this weekend. I didn't want to say, and the reason I got tongue-tied is because Taryn in the chat is making a pick, and he's got Tony Stewart in IndyCar. T, you sure you want to go with that? Because I'm pretty sure Tony Stewart's not on the entry list this week and hasn't been for several years in IndyCar.
He might have been thinking SRX, which is unfortunately over for the summer.
Yeah, that was a fun series, but we got to get ready to get out of here. Frozen Takes with AJ is next. Remember, Christopher's at Fiji Sims, Michael's at Michael_Ward25. Make sure you follow all the iSports Radio social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as following the iSports Radio Twitter at Extra Mile IESR. And if you've missed any episode of any iSports Radio show, it can be heard. You can hear the replays anywhere podcasts can be heard. And make sure you check out the website, www.isportsradio.com. That has been this edition for the Extra Mile here on iSports Radio. Frozen Takes is next for Christopher and Michael. I'm Daryl. We will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.